Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Come to you live from our comfy couch here on the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for March 20th, 2022, with your host, Spaceburger2448, and Epsilon.
Hello.
On a brighter note, since Osby Cinema stuff, Charizard was telling me about Turbo Ranger at the start of the pre-show. I don't think I've been sold on as hard on a Sentai show just off a description.
How so?
Well, apparently it's about environmentalism for a show themed around cars. Also, they got their powers from a fairy. Also, one of the monsters turns into an ATV. Also, the first episode is apparently a recap of the previous 10 Sentais. Like, episode 1 of the show is a recap of the last 10 Sentai shows before we start the show proper. This sounds dumb. I'm kind of on board.
I feel conflicted on that one.
Fair. Like, as soon as I saw a big dumb monster turns into just a straight up ATV, I'm like, why? Sir, why? Sir, I have questions. Do you try to run them over with this? Does someone drive you, or do you drive yourself? Sir? Sir. Yeah, that just getting a description of that is just like, this sounds just as dumb as Car Ranger sounds, where Car Ranger is all about traffic safety and traffic laws. Because Car Ranger is just one big ass parody. Hey folks, we're covering more of Kuuga this week. It's 26 through 28. Unfortunately, our next back has a clip show. I promise it's the last one.
God, I hope so. Yeah.
I do too, because I'm like, I don't remember if this is the last one or not. I really hope it is, because I know there's one more, but I think that's a special. It's not in the episode proper, so it doesn't count. Yeah, any thoughts going into these episodes?
Nah.
Alright then, we shall kick off with episode 25, Wandering. So, Kanzaki, because I have to write his name down because he shows up a bit in this episode. Because I didn't write his name down last time, because Kuuga has too many supporting characters. Too many! I can't remember everybody offhand. But our teacher friend, he's in these pair of episodes because one of his kids is having some worries, and he's not going to talk about them, because like he had his kids do, I'd say a report, but it doesn't look that long. Just to think about what they want their, like, where they see themselves in the future.
I think the subs call it an essay.
Okay, an essay. It's like, it's not a report because it was like 1 page, I think. But they had him write an essay about their future, and he started to write that, like, he didn't feel like he belonged and that, but he erased it and he wrote something else. But he doesn't want to talk about it, and then later as he's dismissing them and like, hey, don't go to Tokyo. That's where all these unidentified life forms are. He tries to talk to the kid, but the kid's like, "Oh no, I'm fine," and then just kind of walks off again. But meanwhile, our Gronky are meeting up in whatever the fuck this place is. It is some lightly flooded room with like 10,000 lights in it. What the fuck is this? Where is this? Also, why? Why are you meeting here? This is like the worst place to meet.
Reasons.
Like the same reason I'm like, why is the autopsy room flooded to like just above the heel of any shoe? I don't get it. But one of them, a bird Grongi, is starting the semifinals off by saying he will kill 9 people 23 times over. And as we'll find out, in different areas according to the Japanese alphabet. But this is when we cut over to Godai and Sawatari. Godai, this is actually kind of combining a scene from later because I don't think they name it the Millennium Bonus in this scene. It's the later scene that they do. But they're talking about how the rising powers are not in the text. So they're new. Which I think we talked about last week. I don't remember offhand. I feel like I've talked about this on here.
I think you have talked about it.
Okay. But yeah, the rising powers are new powers to Kuuga, so there is no text on them, and they're going to be called the Millennium Bonus going forward, more or less. This is when we cut to the kid. He's taking a train back to where his grandparents live, actually. I wrote down grandmother, but it's actually his grandparents. You think? This is one of those times where I really should have slowed down and properly wrote out some stuff because there's a lot going on, a lot to unpack in these 2 episodes.
Yes. And yeah, it is grandparents.
Okay. But yeah, he's going there. Meanwhile, the police are on no leads because it's been about a month from our last episode with no Grongi attacks of any kind until some local CCTV footage catches a Grongi in flight. And then word comes in of 9 people dropping dead randomly on a street corner, which is not good. So the police are heading out. Godai is on standby since we don't have an exact location for this Grongi just yet. We do check in with Kanzaki and Nana as Godai's bringing back supplies for their beach trip or groceries or one of the two. I don't know if they specified what Godai had in his hand in this scene. I feel like it's stuff for the beach, but then they leave later to get more stuff, so I don't know. But he also has little metal belt buckles with Kuuga's mark on them for them that he made himself. That is probably the most impressive thing Godai has done with his 2,000 skills this entire season. Because these are metal belt buckles. Which means he probably smithed them himself to some degree. Somehow. And now that I think about it, how the fuck did he do that?
And when did he get the time to do it?
Like it's been a month and he's had downtime for a month.
Has it been a month or 3 weeks? Because there's conflicting information on that too.
Approximately that amount of time, I guess. But like, these are metal belt buckles with the Kuuga mark, like, or not engraved in them, embossed in them. Like, Godai, how? Godai, where did you get a forge? Because you've had to forge these, right?
Maybe.
Right? I would think. Anyway, putting that aside, Kanzaki calls Pol, talks to Godai about the kid, and Godai's like, well, I'll go look around for him, make sure he's safe. This is when we catch up with the kid. While we catch up with him, we find out that his grandparents passed away, and because of some property dispute, I believe, of some kind, their home got turned into a little 2-car parking lot. So I believe that's why he's moved out to where Kanzaki teaches. And that's kind of left him kind of not feeling, like he belongs. We also see him drop by a local store, and he asks, where's the old lady? Because it's some young girl that answers. Apparently the grandmother is in a home. So once more, one of those, oh, things have changed. I'm sad now. But after all that, we see the Grongi continuing to attack. It's shooting a bunch of people with a dart gun that apparently shoots out pellets that go into the heart and then, expand and cause a heart attack and kill people, immediately. But Ichijo calls in Godai. They plan to have Godai just get on a fairly large building and just shoot at him. And Ichijo's in a helicopter to drop off the gun. They try to do the handoff, but they're interrupted mid-handoff and get shot at. So it's a whole big sequence of Godai trying to transform with pose and all when he can just transform without it.
Yeah.
Kind of silly, but Godai gets the gun, goes Pegasus. He does go Rising Pegasus, which we get to see for the first time. Pulls back, shoots the Grongi shoots the Grongi after he gets shot twice. Once in the arm and I believe once in the leg, but they don't focus on the leg one for some reason.
It's the arm one's the only one that actually makes it all the way through.
True. But Godai gets a shot on the Grongi's wing, and the Grongi decides, well, I'm not dying today, and just rips the wing off and just throws it aside as he is falling. And then we see later, he apparently fell directly into a car, and the car exploded, and then he just walked it off and walked away.
Because Grongi be tough.
Apparently. Also, Godai reverts to growing, so he's on his 2-hour cooldown. And the Grongi is also on his approximately 2-hour, I need to grow back my ring will crick, so I'm gonna take 2 hours and read a book. Or books. Because he had several volumes of whatever this book was. But that's episode 25. Episode 26, myself. We catch up with Ichijo and Godai. Godai's okay. Decides to just go look for the kid since he's on the bench for a couple hours. Kid continues exploring, and he actually stumbles across what I assume is an old hobby store that is now a dry cleaner. This I'm a little confused on. Because I don't know if it's both, or if it used to be the hobby shop and then became a dry cleaner.
Believe used to be, and then became.
Okay. That made sense, but they didn't have an old Gundam of his that I assume he put together with his name in front of it still in the window. So I was like, why is that still on this display then? And you still have the hobby shop sign on the side. unless you just decide not to take it down. But that makes him sadder, and then we check in with Kanzaki. He's heading to town, and then Minori goes to Pol, and Nana and Kazari just pawn off the shop to her so they can go get stuff for their beach trip. Because sometimes the two of them don't want to work at the shop that they own. Well, Kazari doesn't want to work at the shop that he owns, and is more than willing to pawn it off to someone else. But this is when Ichijo catches up with the other cops at the scene where the Grongi fell into the car. They find out, oh, it's still alive, even through all of this. So I guess we still need to be on the lookout for him. But he's hiding out in their flooded, too much light face thing, reading books until he gets his wing back. We follow up with Godai. He's following the kid, just kind of shadowing him. And he lets Minori know, hey, if Kanzaki shows up, just tell him to stay put. I got the kid. I'll handle things from here. Checking with the cops real quick. They try to find a pattern with the Grongi. No dice. Godai, while he's shadowing the kid, sees he's about to head home. But then the kid decides not to, and then heads to this nearby temple, where Godai goes to talk to him. And then what follows is what I can only describe as I feel like the writer doing a bit of a commentary on state of the world when it comes to kids using these characters, because that's the only other way I can describe these scenes. Because I feel like I'm lacking a cultural context, I feel like. I don't know. How'd you feel about all of this that they just blurted out on us?
Exactly that.
Okay.
It's one of those, it's like, yeah, I feel like this was made to make a statement, and that was kind of it.
Yeah. Because we cut between Godai talking to this kid, and Kanzaki talking to Minori and an arriving Sawatari, and they're both talking about the same thing, more or less. And I feel like I'm missing some sort of cultural context, because it's like the weight being put on kids' shoulders, and when they're older, they just look tired and stuff. Like, it feels like we're talking about a heavy topic that requires a cultural context of the time period, and we are in no way, shape, or form equipped to talk about that.
Yeah.
But that's the next few scenes. I do give him credit with Godai just trying to encourage the kid and be like, look, you've got worries. You'll figure them out, but it'll take time. But for now, where you are is where you belong. And that's okay. And it's also okay that you have worries. That's fine. So, like, I appreciate Godai just telling this kid, hey, what you feel right now is valid. And it's okay. And you'll work through it eventually. It just takes time. Anywho, after all this, Godai gets called in. Him and Ichijo meet up. Ichijo hands off his gun. I don't know why at some point they just don't issue Godai something resembling a firearm, so they stop having to do this. Because they never
he's
do.
Not a cop.
Right, but it doesn't have to be an actual gun. It just has to be something gun-shaped.
No, he's only ever done it with a gun. He has to do it with gun.
We have seen him turn not only a metal pole, but several sticks into rods.
Yep.
I think as long as it's gun-shaped, he can turn it into the bow gun.
Also, technically, couldn't he also turn a bow into the bow gun?
I would assume so, because that's what originally it would be.
Yeah. Meaning give the man a toy bow and be on your way.
Exactly. That's why I say gun shape. It just be a toy gun that he just has on him. Yeah, they did a handoff. Bit of a duel, but the Gronky goes down very quickly because Godai lands a bunch of shots on it. It goes kaboom in midair, and I would like to note that these explosions are getting bigger. If you haven't noticed, there's a reason for that. Let's just say it's a bit of a build-up. But that's the end of our first half of episodes. How'd you feel about them?
I feel like the back half actually kind of ties the first half a little better.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the thing about, the one's going in an alphabetical order killing people. You don't really find that out then, because they don't come to that realization until after, and it's like, oh.
Which, to be fair, we wouldn't know that because we do not know the Japanese alphabet in any capacity, so that would have went over our heads anyway.
Yeah.
Unless they outright stated it.
Hence why I feel like that was probably a good thing they outright stated it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise that would have probably gotten to the point of, okay, well then wait, what was its pattern?
Yeah. Granted, I feel like the reach they have to pull to figure out this back half one is a lot. I think it's the most that you ever have to swallow of like, wait, how the fuck did you figure this out? Because I'm gonna call foul.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing I can think of is the piano playing was what tipped him off.
Right. But he had to have... We'll get there. We'll get there.
I completely get it. I mean, possible secret music scholar or something?
Apparently.
Because that's about the only answer to that question there. Not gonna lie.
But yeah, shall we get to the back half then?
I guess so.
Alright, episode 27, Ripple. So, we have our new Gronky. It is a female Gronky. She interrupts some breakdancers to find some random song on the radio to kill to. And in response to being confronted about this whole situation, she murders them?
I think she was gonna murder them before that, but yeah.
Right, but her pattern is water, and there is no water in this scene. Which feels like there's a set of murders that we've missed.
Wait a minute. Did they ever acknowledge those murders?
No! That's why I'm bringing it up! She murdered like 12 people in this opening scene, and we never follow up on that as in the body count in her motive. Because she kills people in a pool. None of these people were in a pool. And she probably murdered all of them.
No, there's no probably. No, she murdered all of them.
Right. But I feel like they missed them, or they didn't connect the dots, because
I feel like missed them.
Probably. But yeah, that happens. This is when we check in with Godai and Sautari at Pol. Godai's prepping some food for the day. I believe it's curry specifically, because they end up serving curry later. But more of that speculation about the rising forms, more or less going, Tsubaki's electroshocks, even though he was kidding. Yeah, that's probably the source of them, which makes sense.
I guess.
Honestly. Well, they keep being depicted as like electricity to some degree, and Well, there's only one time Godai's been hit with electricity in this show so far.
Yeah, but does that immediately mean that that's that, though?
No, but it's the best guess. I only assume that to be the case because they do this again in the SIC story for a bigger, fancier ultimate form. So, yes, I guess it's one of those times where Kuuga lore isn't super clear. Because I don't know how far you can extrapolate of, wait, so you mean if Godai gets hit by a strong enough power that doesn't kill him, does the Amadam absorb it and then turn it into a power source for the belt? Because I don't know if that's the case or not, because that's kind of what we're implying. Because Godai was nearly dead when he got shocked.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Anywho, we also find out that Kazari, Nana, Minori, a friend of theirs I don't remember the name of. They're at a local pool, local swim park. I forget the actual name for it. They're there, enjoying the day since they couldn't go to a beach. Also, Minori's friend is early in her pregnancy because she's not showing, but she says she's in second trimester, which I don't know when in the timeline of a pregnancy that is, but it must be early on because, like I said, she's not showing. I don't know, to be honest. But it's apparently important enough that I need to state it. We cut over to Ichijo. He checks in on Kita. They're doing upgrades to the Tri-Chaser. When Jean drops by, he's got a present for Nikita. It's a little papergraph book that he hopes she will do with her kid because, again, I guess understated thing about Jean's relationship with a parental figure, maybe, where he recognizes that Nikita's working too much and should spend more time with her kid.
Also, I feel like somewhere between the last batch of episodes and this batch of episodes, he has now found out. Because if I'm not mistaken, in the last two, there was some line made in front of him, and it's like, wait a minute, you shouldn't have said that. Oh yeah, it was about Goran.
Yeah.
About him not calling, about Godai not calling it for a little while. It's like, he's in the room. He doesn't know, right?
Yeah.
Or is this our soft confirmation of he knows?
I guess at some point Saratari decided to inform him, by the way, this guy's the guy that like is handling all the Gronki, by the way. I assume. There's a lot of things that happen off screen in this show because, like I said, if you keep track of the ultimate, like the unidentified life form account, you know we jump several numbers every few episodes or so. So, like, shit happens off screen. So it wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, this is when we check in with Rose and one of the other Grongi who's wearing like a military uniform. They talk about Kuuga adding a sense of danger to the game, which I guess is the explanation of this is why we're not trying to go after him because you know what? Why would we? If you get murdered by him, it's your fault. It feels weird that the writer isn't really that much of a threat, I guess. That they're just willing to just go, oh yeah, he's alive. If you die to him, it's your fault. We're not killing him. Why would we? It's a part of the game. But that's when we check up with the Grongi. She's at another pool park. As Tsubaki calls up Saotari for a date because he's got a day off. And she declines, but she does ask him to come help at Pole Pole because they're really busy. Because they got the place packed and it's just her and Godai running the place.
And soon just her.
Yeah. Which it's very surprising that she was able to handle that kind of rush on her own. But this is when we just check in with Nori's friend. She's worried about, bringing in a kid to current state of the world with all the Grongi and stuff. And this is when Ichijo and the police are informed of, oh no, a murder happened at a pool. We need to go investigate. Unfortunately, not only is the Grongi long gone from that crime scene, she has already committed murders at another pool park by the time the police got informed of this first one. So she is way ahead of them. Somehow, even though she's going to pool parks that with fairly large distance between them. How is she getting around so fast?
I mean, I would say swimming, but no.
Yeah, no, there's kind of no body of water connecting all this, apparently. But this is when Godai gets called in, so Saotari is left on her own to handle a fully packed pole pole, which, the pole pole's not that large. It looks like it's like a max, 12 people, probably. Because it's got, a small bar, and it looks like it's got, I think, 3 tables, probably. 3 two-people tables. So you could probably fit maybe, 12 people in here. But it's still still packed, and I assume it stays packed for a little bit. And she manages to hold it on her own, having to not only do up food orders, but drink orders as well. Which, I wonder if she's done this before she went to college.
Possibly.
But this is when we check in with the Kazari and the others, and they actually end up departing the swim park they're at. As the Grongi arrives, we see them pass each other, which, very close call on their part. But Ichijo arrives at the first one. We find out that there are 16 people dead there. All of them have a burn mark of some kind on their chest. And this is when the second one gets called in. Ichijo heads there. Sugita, the other main cop, stays at the first one. Godai meets him at the second one. Kazari and Nana make it back to Pole Pole. The restaurant is actually, empty now, and Saotari handled it fairly well. Good job on her. Tsubaki then shows up with a full bouquet of flowers in hand for some reason. She called you for help, not for flowers, sir. I think you got the wrong message. But he gets called in by Ichijo, so he just leaves Saotari the flowers and just goes to work. I don't know if they ever do anything with the two of them. I don't think they do.
Probably not.
Yeah. But Godai's at the second pool when meets up with Ichijo for the hot second, and then the third one gets called in. That's the one Kazari and the others were at. So he immediately heads off there, especially because I'm pretty sure he knows it's that one that they were at. But as Godai is en route, the biker Grongi that is totally not Hongo shows up and him and Godai have to do a duel on bikes. A very unnecessary duel of bikes for some reason. And we also see that the Grongi sticks around at her fourth murder. Yeah, fourth murder, playing the piano of the song that she's using for thing we'll get to later. And we end the episode with Godai taking a beating per usual, getting thrown into this big pile of half-filled gas cans, and a loose wire gets pulled down and it actually ignites and explodes. That is a safety violation. Why are there a ton of half-empty gas cans next to wiring that is easily just rippable?
Because it's gotta make an explosion for a TV show.
True. That is an OSHA violation.
No, it ain't. It's not a workplace.
You know what? You're probably right, because this warehouse is probably abandoned.
Yep.
That's why there's a pile of half-empty gas cans there. But that takes us to our last episode, episode 28, Clarification. So, Ichijo's trying to piece together the pattern of the Gronki. But right now, the only common I have is pool, because the number of victims varies. Because there's 18 at one. I think the second one...
16.
Alright, 16 at the first one, and then the second one...
Had 24, I think it said, but there was 16 children.
Yeah, it was like 24 with 16 kids. The third one had some other specific amount, and then the fourth one had like 4.
I think the third one had like 8 or something like that.
Yeah, and like this fourth one has like something lower than that. So it's
I
like
think it had like 2, I'm wanting to say.
Yeah, it's weird oddball numbers.
But okay. I don't get how in show they came up to this conclusion, but from a viewer standpoint, you can kind of get the whole thing that they come to the realization of.
Right, because we have more information. I think we have like better information, but like
I'm more like puzzled how they got the answer.
Yeah.
And like I said, the only thing I can think is maybe it's because he wound up hearing her playing the piano.
That would be my only guess, but yeah.
And maybe that is what triggered it.
Yeah, because
otherwise, there is no rhyme or reason to this.
Because like I skipped over this, but Ichijo in the last episode did catch the Grongi in her human form playing the piano, but didn't think of it as he went to investigate. Because that's not suspicious at all in this active crime scene.
Well, I think he started to and then got interrupted.
Right. But yeah, I guess we'll just talk about this now. So eventually, Ichijo and Godai get together, and between the two of them, somehow rub their brain cells together to figure out that the names of all of these water parks are following the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do scale. And then the number of victims are the specific notes of a piece of music. And that piece of music was what the Grongi was playing that Ichijo heard. And if you follow that, you can get the scale and presumably the number of victims next in line. But how the fuck they figured out what song? Because that's my hang up on this. How the fuck did Ichijo know the exact song? Because he heard that song midway through.
Unless he just, like I said, secret music degree or something kind of deal.
Because I'm trying to think of what song they said it was, and I'm pretty sure it's not even a well-known song.
Yeah.
Of course the wiki doesn't tell me. I have to go to the actual episode for it to tell me what the specific song was.
Meaning that it wasn't well known enough to even warrant getting put in the wiki.
Probably. Also, there's apparently a water droplet on every single one of the piano keys. I forgot about that part. Which is the incredibly stranger part as well, of just like, why is this here?
Yeah. And exact perfect, too.
Uh-huh.
Also, I want to know who they paid to use the water dropper to go on each key, because holy crap.
Probably some intern.
Well, then that would be who they didn't pay, then.
Yeah. Chopin's Revolutionary Etude. Or Etude. I don't know how to pronounce that last word. Which, I feel like Chopin is probably well known enough, but not a major composer. I don't think like a general audience would probably know who Chopin is, I think. Because they are not Beethoven and or Mozart, so... But yeah, I feel like this is the hardest reach they have to pull to figure out a case. I don't think any of them are this bad. Yeah, that's a scene later. Back a little bit earlier in the episode, since we jumped ahead a good bit. We're at Pol. Kazari and Nana find out about their close call because they turn on TV and see it being reported. And to Kazari's credit, he immediately turns that TV off because he's like, he already knows that Nana's fairly freaked out because her teacher got killed by a Grongi, and now she almost did, just because of pure circumstance. I'm pretty sure she should be flipping out super hard. And also, I think before this point, Minori's friend also collapsed when she heard about this, but apparently she was also anemic from her pregnancy. Like partially anemic, because I guess she's not eating enough. But yeah, the both of them freak out about this. Rose checks in with Biker Man, because he's been testing Godai, seeing how good he is. Gojai and Ichigo regroup. That's where this whole pattern situation comes in. Also, Tsubaki calls in to tell us how these people got murdered. Apparently, the burn on their chest is a 3rd-degree frostbite burn that caused a heart attack. That would have to be delivered with something that could reach negative 100 to 150 degrees, I believe is what he said. Which...
Yes.
They didn't specify Celsius or Fahrenheit. I assume whatever the standard in Japan is. That's still fucking cold.
AKA, I'm assuming Celsius.
Probably. That's still like...
Because we're like one of the only countries in the world that uses Fahrenheit.
Yeah, we gotta be different. We have to be different with all our measurements for some stupid fucking reason.
I mean, you know, metric's a myth.
Well,
of course, you know, in all seriousness, I don't know if that would be the case with that either. I would assume Celsius, but I don't know. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think, wasn't it in Ryuki one of the background noise weather things was actually saying Fahrenheit or something?
probably.
I think I caught that on one of them, and I was like, "That's weird."
Well, the weird thing is, like, whether or not it's Celsius or Fahrenheit, scientifically, you'd be using Kelvin because that's an absolute temperature scale. Fahrenheit and Celsius are just relative.
But if you think about it, though, both of those would actually be used in a conversation like we're seeing here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kelvin probably wouldn't be used in a casual conversation like this.
Or even in an autopsy kind of concept.
Yeah. I'm seeing Celsius. Just a quick Google search and seeing what pops up. It seems Celsius is something that pops up more, so probably Celsius.
Probably.
So negative 100 degrees Celsius. I said negative. That's about a negative 148 Fahrenheit.
So, negative boiling.
Pretty much. I think it's.
I don't think it's an exact kind of deal, but I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think you'd have to stick your hand into a straight up bucket of dry ice to get even close to that temperatures on your body. And I mean directly into a bowl of dry ice.
Yeah, and I don't think most people are going to do that.
No. That will not end well for you.
I mean, sure it could.
But yeah, that's how these people are being killed. Then the whole figuring out the pattern. So they start to close down any park, or swim park, pool, or beach. That would be another, I think. Is it me? Is the next note?
No, so.
No, yeah, so. Anything that has like so at the start of its name. So we end up seeing the Gronki show up to a park and it's completely empty, and she's like, ah, shit. But with all the pools closed, the Gronki's gonna have to resort to, hopefully someone has stuck around on the beach that should be closed. But checking in with Nana real quick, her mom calls her real quick to just see if she's okay. Also, Minori tries to help her friend just work through, the shock of all this. But that's when we catch up with the Gronki at a pool, or at the beach. She kills one person and then pops up in her Gronki form and then starts trying to throw hands at people instead of hitting them with her Sub-Zero whip like she's been doing all episode. I guess she's upset.
Apparently.
Yeah. But Ichijo and Godai arrive. Ichijo evacs the civilians. Godai goes dragon. Uses one of the washed up branches to get his rod. Fights the Grongi. Unfortunately, the ice whip just practically shatters half the rod, and he gets tossed into a shack before he comes out, having to get a new stick. Luckily, the ocean provides a new stick, and he kicks it up and goes rising, which we didn't really talk about the other two rising forms, but these just add big, like, gold sharp bits onto the ends of the weapons, so the Pegasus gets that on the gun, and I guess it gets to be a multi-shot weapon now? Because I think the previous gun was only like a single shot. Or at least I think they showed it only be single shot. And then the dragon form gets those on both ends of the rods. But he hits the finisher, throws her out to sea, she goes kaboom in a really big explosion. And that's the episode. How'd you feel about the back half?
Super feel like, yeah, exactly what I was saying. The back half kind of helps the front half.
Yeah.
In the sense of we figure out what the last one's motivation was.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
Yeah, we get our other two rising forms just for a finisher, more or less. They don't even really get to fight that much. Any thoughts on our two new rising forms?
Not really, because I mean, it kind of one of those, it just feels like it's stronger form, and that's it kind of deal. I don't really feel like it adds anything greatly to it.
Yeah, I think Pegasus finally gets, or not Pegasus, Dragon gets shoulder armor now because the shoulder pads go to blue, so he actually has shoulder armor this time, and the Pegasus just gets a lot of gold. I don't think it really gets anything extra. So they are there. They do stuff. Man, Kuuga still is good. Just the big brain moment of this episode is just like, what? How? You are lucky that Grongi only played that song. Otherwise, y'all be fucking stumped. I'm pretty sure that is the only reason she played the song in this episode, is so they'd have a way for each show to figure this shit out.
Oh, I am almost positive that was the only reason, was so that they could Scooby-Doo it.
It really does feel like a Scooby-Doo moment. Because they just like have Ichigo Godai staring at his like notebook, and as the camera just kind of like pivots around as it like kind of just zooms in slowly, and just the music plays, and it's just like you'd almost hear the Jeopardy music in it all, just being like yeah, Kuuga, still good, still enjoying it on rewatch the third for me. I gotta get around to reading the novel soon, because we are chipping away at episodes fairly fast, so
yeah.
But any other thoughts?
Not that I can think of.
All right, then. Wednesday. We're checking out that new game, right?
Yes.
Fuck, I can't remember the name of it.
Craftopia.
Craftopia, that's it. I was just like, fuck, what is it? Craftopia, we're checking that out Wednesday. Thursday, it is Kamen Hibiki and Grand Shocker no Yobu. We're checking out those games. Well, I'm checking out those games. Saturday, we will talk shop on games with... Apparently, the Ori and the Blind Forest studio is in some hot water. I saw. It's the greatest hits of the current state of the industry. Yay! So we'll probably be talking about that amongst other stuff. And Sunday, we continue our watch through Kuuga. So if you like what you're seeing, folks, drop a follow. Really appreciate it. Chipping away at that affiliate goal. Add Teach Saloon on Twitter, gets the updates on life. Exclamation point, Discord, and chat. Gets a Discord link. Drop by, say hi. See you Wednesday, folks.